Welcome back to the Purple Chairs. It is 2024. Bright and early in the morning, we have the great David Humphreys here today. Dave, welcome.
Hey,
back.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah,
it's a new year.
New year, lots to talk about, lots happening.
But we'll just hit straight into how's the whole EV thing going percentage-wise for the last year? Where are we at now? How many cars on the road in Ireland, etc.?
Yeah, we've just starting into the new year now. Looking back on last year, again, another real bumper year for EV sales. Last year was kind of the first year that there wasn't really any of the kind of limitations or restrictions, supply chain issues that we had. So it was kind of the first proper year of EV sales. Overall figures are up 45%, which is not, it's a pretty significant figure, but it's not all that surprising given how limited and how constrained the supply was. So last year there was just under 23,000, so 22,700 or so electric vehicles registered last year in 2023. So very strong, good to see. It's definitely, when you look back on previous years, it's almost like a doubling every year of what we're seeing now. And there's a number of things driving that. There's a lot of new models that are available now. There's new brands coming to the market, but also people are more aware and more interested in electric vehicles as well. So increasingly, like in Complete Car, when we talk to consumers, they're always sort of saying, oh, I'm now only considering an electric car as my next car. Whereas, sure you guys have probably saw it as well, like if you go back 4 or 5 years, it was a harder sell to try and get somebody to go electric.
Yeah, because they're hearing the kind of, what's it called, like the bar chat about, mileage and no charges and all that. So they're hearing the absolute skepticism. So they were never going to do it. But like you said, more affordable EVs coming onto the market last year was a big help, and will be again this year. The likes of, as you know a lot about BYD and stuff, you can get what is it, the Seal now, fully loaded for under 50 grand?
Yeah,
I know 50 grand is still 50 grand, but as an electric car that's fully loaded, as in has all sorts of spec and everything you need, it's a good, a good trade.
Cost is an issue still, obviously, and these days everyone is much more aware of the costs of everything. But also, people look at those figures. They look, a new EV is 50,000, 60,000. Yeah. But there's very few people walking in, handing in a bank draft for that. The money they've got to trade in, they're doing some finance. Like, there are so many good like PCP offers, finance deals that are out there. A lot of brands are doing 0% finance on stuff. So, there are bargains available.
It's the only way they're going to get sales.
That's it. Yeah, they have to. It's another kind of way of kind of subsidizing how they're going to do this, and that's fine. It's good to see. It's good for the consumer to have that much choice. As you mentioned, there's new players. BYD was one of the big arrivals last year, which is, I think more and more people are kind of hearing about it now, or have heard about it.
What's that on the back of the car?
Build your dreams. Yeah. Now, and actually, that's now not going to appear on the cars now, because BYD, the kind of feedback from Europe was like, we don't really like this. And BYD said, okay, we're just going to not put it on the cars now. So there's 1 or 2 cars that will have it because of how it's done.
Good looking car though.
But yeah, they've got the ATTO 3, that was their first car, so compact crossover. They've got the Dolphin now is the latest one that's arrived, which is kind of a smaller, I guess, like a kind of ID3 size car, but again, more affordable. And now you'll have the Seal, which is kind of rolling out January, February. And the Seal is really a pure rival for the Model 3, for the Tesla Model 3. It's a very, very good car. I got to drive it last year, and for me, it was one of the highlights of the year.
Really?
Just a very good car, great spec. I only got to drive the all-wheel drive version, which is the higher performance dual motor, 510-ish horsepower, like all the performance you'll ever want. Very nice to drive, very good quality inside, and as you mentioned, they just put everything on it. Like there's no you're not ticking the box, oh, do I want cruise control, or I want this or that. Everything is on it.
What colour?
And then you pick your colour. And that's it. And it's such a simple way of doing it. Makes so much sense. And BYD will have more cars coming this year as well.
They're here to stay.
Yeah, they are a huge company. I think people don't really fully understand how big they are. Like in China, they're absolutely massive. They've sold millions of EVs. They make buses, electric buses. They make chips, they make batteries. Like I remember somebody told me a stat, it was like a third of all Android smartphones have a BYD chip in them in the world, you know, like, so this is a huge company. So you know, they've come to Ireland. They've already opened up a whole host of dealerships around the country. They'll probably have even more, and crucially, they seem to kind of have all of the right ingredients. You know, they've got cars that people want. They are, because they're manufactured currently in China, it's much cheaper to produce them out there. They have the scale that, you know, that a big player can operate on, but they are also going to start to produce cars now in Hungary. So they already produced some buses there, and just towards the end of last year, they announced that they're going to start producing cars in Hungary as well for Europe. And that's obviously part of the whole, tariffs that are coming in against, you know, they're trying to kind of limit how strong some of these Chinese companies can be. But BYD is just one company. You know, you've got so many others.
Who else to be excited about then in 24?
Well, I think
for the general public,
I think you're gonna see, actually, like, the things to get excited about are actually going to be some of the existing legacy brands that we all sort of know. So, you know, the Stellantis group, which owns a whole host of brands like, you know, Citroen, Alfa Romeo, all these kind of brands, like, they have some affordable, and I mean properly affordable, electric cars coming.
Grand?
So
brand new.
So Citroen will have the EC3, which is a kind of a 5-seat compact crossover. I had a preview of it last year. That will probably, now bear in mind our taxes in Ireland are a little bit higher, but that will probably still comfortably come in under 30,000 euros, which you kind of think, okay, 30,000 euros is still, like, it's a sizable chunk of money, but for most people, for a brand new electric car, like, I think most people, that's within reasonable budget for the average person. But more importantly, that also puts an electric car in the same sort of price bracket that they probably would have been buying a petrol or a diesel car for as well. So that's I think that's going to be a really crucial thing, that EVs start to get to price parity with combustion engines. And, you know, because the other thing as well is most people don't need to have huge big batteries that, you know, these kind of 100 kilowatt hour batteries that, like, the likes of Polestar are going to have in the 3 and the 4 and stuff like this. They don't necessarily need that. And I think the days of range anxiety is kind of gone for people as well. You mentioned, like, all the horror stories people heard about.
It's like everything. Oh, don't be doing that. And I can't. What happens if I go to West Cork? And you're thinking, have you ever
the landscape has changed a lot now. The charging network has also, you know, all right, it's not perfect by no means, but it's getting a lot better. You know, once people kind of realize that if they can charge at home or at work as well, which, you know, a lot of employers now are putting in chargers for that, which is great to see. But along the motorway network now, you know, the chargers are improving. You know, ESB are putting more higher power chargers in. The cars are also improving. So you now have, like, the cars that can take, you know, really fast charging, you know, that can avail of that kind of thing. Now, admittedly, that's still in the kind of upper tier models, but to be able to pull into a fast charger, knowing that I only need 15 minutes and that will do me.
That's the game changer.
Okay, granted, yes, you do pay, like, it's much more expensive to do that, but the fact that you have more cars that can charge more quickly means even if you pull into like Junction 14 or wherever, like one of these services on the motorways, even if there's a car there, chances are it's not like it was 5 years ago that, oh, they just pulled in and plugged in ahead of me, they're going to be there for 40 minutes. You know, so it's that kind of thing. And I think there's still a long way to go, especially, you know, for you guys, and same for us as well in the media, to try and educate people a little bit more about it, that you don't need to charge your car fully all the time, you know. And like, often if I'm doing a long trip, I'll pull in on the motorways, but if I I'll plug it in for however long it takes me to go into the shop to get a coffee, to have a quick look at the newspapers, maybe use the bathroom and come back out. It might only be 10-12 minutes. And I'll just unplug it then, and I'll just go.
A topper.
It's just a top up. I'm not going, oh, I have to charge it back to 80%, you know. So and look, more experienced EV drivers know this already, you know, but this is more just for people to kind of understand that, you know, most of the time it's actually going to be fine. Now, look, we also get the whole, oh, can I drive to West Cork and do that? Look, you can and you can't. It depends on how you approach it, depends on how you use it, you know. If you drive flat out on a motorway in an EV, they don't like that. That's not what they're ideal for. But also, if you're only going to make that trip once a year or twice a year, you can work around it.
Just plan it.
It's a little bit of
just
planning. But as I said, the networks are getting a lot better. You now have even companies like Tesla that are opening up their network, which was exclusively only for Teslas, are now 2 of the places here in Ireland are now open to anyone to use, which is great to see. You've got great companies like EasyGo. You know, they've really kind of shown the ESB how you can do it. And they've rolled out loads of fast chargers. You've still got Ionity, but they're kind of still the most expensive. And I've not had great experiences with them, but you know, they have more locations as well. And also, depends on where you're going. Like now we see increasingly businesses like hotels and gyms and stuff like that, they have a charger there because that's almost like, it's an amenity that people want to see now. If they're booking a hotel, it's like, does it have a gym and a spa? Oh, it has an EV charger as well. I'll go there, you know. So
and there is nothing more annoying than not having one, or you go there and there's one charger.
Exactly, So like, there's more of that kind of stuff as well. So like, that's great to see, and I think we're going to see, you know, that widespread adoption is. I can only see it continuing this year. I think we'll see even more EV sales this year.
Yeah, it'll more than double. It has to, because when it becomes affordable for people, it's a no-brainer scenario.
Yeah.
You know, and EVs compared to a small petrol or diesel engine, it's just a nicer car to drive. End of.
That's it. I mean, and if anyone hasn't done it, go and drive one, because they're so much nicer to drive. And now there's so many more different shapes and sizes. It's a really good time to be now getting into the EV market. If you're looking for one, go and have a look around. You'll be amazed at how much, you know, is there. And actually, I'll just plug, like, on completecar.ie, we have every EV that's on sale as well, so you can find everything there too.
Completecar.ie. So Dave, it's amazing. So it's exciting for 2024. And all the cars coming out, and we'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Dave's off to fly around the world and just to live his exclusive life. So if you need any more information, completecar.ie is the best place in the country for all information about EVs, or dcev.ie. See you soon, thanks.